Hello and welcome to the Dark Mount video review for Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015 Warrior Class Bumblebee. He isn't super kibbly underneath. His sword does store on these pegs here, but it's not super tight. I mean, it's not the loosest thing ever, but it just kind of like loosely hangs on there. Loosely hangs on there. Well, I mean, it's clearly not that loose, but it's loose enough that it kind of feels like it falls off. Not with much difficulty. I'll just say that. Doesn't take all that much to make it fall off, but storage is appreciated, so that's nice. So you can take that off. It is a blue transparent sword, pretty cool looking. Here is wave 1 and 2 in their vehicle and beast modes. Transforming Bumblebee, as is going to be the case in a majority of these Robots in Disguise figures, is pretty easy. It's not like brain dead, like Rescue Bots level easy or like one-step level easy, but it's still relatively easy. They're about as complicated as the animated figures were. People are kind of making them out to be super super simplified, but they're really not that much different from the animated figures, in my approximation at least. So the first thing you want to do is just come in here and just kind of wiggle these doors until you can get them free, like that. And then they are going to, interestingly enough, slide out. They kind of slot in there, like so. They slide out on this, and you can just kind of angle them down for now. Then you can come back here and just kind of fold this up, which lets you pull this whole roof part down. This is similar to Warrior Class Drift that I'll be looking at in a little bit, except they don't actually peg in anywhere, they just sit there, which is kind of disappointing. You fold the feet down, pull the arms out, spin the legs around, and then in here, the two pegs that the sword pegged onto are going to peg into the back, like so. And then you can just angle these wings out as much as you want. I usually do 2 or 3 clicks. And then this part right here has these kind of big slots on them, and that's going to slot into these things right up here. And then you can kind of fold this back or leave it that way. I fold it back because it kind of holds everything together. And then you want to move these up so the shoulders are at a normal person level. Kind of do whatever you like on that. And then split the legs. And you run into the first problem, giant sarcasm quotation marks, problem with this figure, which is that he doesn't have awesome, well, he doesn't really have any heel support at all. You'd think that these would fold down more and kind of like drift, would become something, but they don't. But here's the thing. All you have to do to fix this problem is just bend his legs a little bit, like that. Give him a more natural leg pose, and he stands fine. The only problem really is when you are trying to have him totally straight-legged, because then his center of gravity is basically right here, and like the slightest little bit is going to knock him backwards. If you move his center of gravity so that it's actually supported by his feet, like a normal person stands, he stands fine. And there's not like, you can still knock him over if you hit him hard enough, but he's gonna stand fine under most normal circumstances. So if you are having a lot of trouble with your Bumblebee standing, just bend his legs a little bit. You don't even need to bend them this much. I mean, I'm kind of being over dramatic with this, just for the purpose of the review, but It's an easy enough fix. I don't think it's one of those things that's like, oh, it's a horrible figure, it can't stand. Maybe that's just me, but he seems fine to me. Can bring his sword back into the mix and give him that. Yep. It's a sword. His articulation is pretty decent. He's got a weird kind of ball jointy head thing that is very tight to move side to side, but I think that's just kind of the ball inside the head being a little tight. I mean, I'm guessing that'll wear down after, if I just did this for a little bit, it'd probably wear down. He's got the transformation swivel stuff going on here, so that's kind of like a ball joint in there and then like a swivel outside here. He's got arm bend and rotation. He's got a waist rotation, ball jointed hips. Oh, universal hips. I lied. And a leg swivel and a knee bend that is kind of hindered by this car stuff, but not as much as you'd think. I mean, you can still get a decent bend out of it, so you can still do some kind of action-y running type things going on with him. It's not that bad. His feet are kind of articulated. Not really. They're at a natural kind of A stance that is actually pretty good for him. So, that doesn't bug me at all. And here you have a size comparison of all of the Wave 1 and 2 warrior figures in their robot modes. And they're all generally the same size. Optimus is a little bit taller, but they're all generally the same size, width, mass, all of that. There's not a huge level of variance between these figures. So all in all, I really enjoyed this figure. I'm actually a pretty big fan of the whole Robots in Disguise 2015 line. I really like the Legions figures, and so far I've really enjoyed all of the Warrior figures. So I guess forgive me in advance for lots of gushing and positive reviews. I'm not going to have a whole lot of negative stuff to say about these guys, just a couple little nitpicks here and there. For him, really, it would just be that I do wish that they had put some kind of heel spur on there. It is easy enough to fix, but every once in a while, you're not going to want to have him have bent legs. So I always go for more stability over less. If they could have figured out a way to have these things kind of hook in to be more supportive, that would have been cool. Barring that, it would have been cool if they did what they did with Drift and figured out a way to have this kind of peg in here somewhere. I don't entirely know why they don't, because they have these two perfect pegs that would have pegged in really, really well there. So I guess they just didn't want to have two big holes on the front of the car, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't really hurt anything. They're very tight, so it's not like they flop around, but it's just kind of... I always prefer when things can tab in. If something can tab in, I would like it to tab in. That's just me. The other really only like major complaint that I have, I guess a couple people have had some problems with the gears on these wings kind of grinding down or breaking or something. Just don't like grind them. I mean, just bend them carefully. Don't press into them when you're bending them. It's plastic, guys, so yeah, if you treat it poorly, it's gonna break. I don't know why we're still surprised at that. The only real complaint that I have about this guy are these weird holes. He's got 4, and they are like genuine holes. You can stick things in them. He's got 4 strange holes in his crotch that I have no idea. At first, when I first saw pictures, I was like, oh, well, it's going to be for transformation. Like, things are going to tab in there in robot mode or in vehicle mode to stay safe or... No, nothing tabs to that. This is the underside of the car. So, I don't know what those are for. I don't know if he was supposed to have some kind of crotch piece that went there. I don't know if there's some kind of later product coming out in the RID line that attaches to him or something. I mean, I don't see any other points on this toy that would make it seem like that's happening, so I don't know why he would just be getting a new crotch piece. I mean, I have no idea. Honestly, I usually have some kind of a... I also have no idea what that hole's for. There's a hole on the underside of his hand. I usually have some idea, and I can kind of wager a guess as to why something is the way it is, whether it's cost savings or I don't know, but I have no idea what this is, what the purpose of this is. It doesn't hinder the toy, it's not like a bad thing, it's just weird looking, and it serves no purpose that I can figure out. So, if you know why this is here, or even have some kind of speculation, feel free to let me know, because I'd love to have a reason for that. It'd be cool. Yeah, but anyway, I'm definitely a big fan of this guy, and I highly recommend this whole line. We'll zoom up on his face there. Yeah, so he's definitely a good looking figure. He's very cartoony. If you don't like the style of this cartoon, you're probably not going to like the style of the toys, but I do. It's kind of like animated meets Prime, and it's very loud, very angular. I'm into it. So, yep, he's a good figure. He's got my seal of approval, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.